I've looked up a couple of videos called The Politics of Mental Health, and I'm a mental health counselor. And most of them have to do with how crappy the mental health system was back in the day, stigmatizing people, putting people in straitjackets, putting them in institutions, and all that stuff. And everybody understands that you can criticize any industry or service, but I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I know tons of people in the mental health industry, and I don't know what percentage, but it's the predominant number of them that are actually doing good work and actually want the people that come to use them to be just happier and healthier and enjoy life and feel good and do good to others. They want their clients to do well for themselves and well for others. It's truly one of the many altruistic pursuits people have. There are business people who are literally trying to just make a living so they can do good for people. And that's exactly what I am. I happen to be a private practitioner. So when I'm titling this video Politics and Mental Health, I'm talking literally about how politics affects us. I don't know how it affects everybody. I know how it affects me. I think I've seen how it affects other people. And the primary thing about politics is in this modern sort of Republican, Democratic, and what I mean by that is Republicanism is a form of democracy. It's a way to let the people rule the government and tell the government what they're allowed to do to rule the people, which seems very empowering unless that system gets screwed up. Now, ironically, wealth and power hold on to wealth and power, meaning wealthy people and powerful people hold on to wealth and power. Why do they do that? Because we all hold on, we try to want to hold on to what we've got. Being powerless and being penniless is no good, no fun, and it's not healthy. Nobody should be without power, but that's the problem. The people who have the power are capable and interested in getting more and more power because it's just natural. Just assume you would probably be trying to make more and more money, the more and more money you've already made. If you found out that you can get $100,000 a year and you could find out or have been told or learned how to make more than that per year, it's very unlikely that you won't try to take someone up on that and learn how to do it and take advantage of that idea. Most of us don't have a very good stop button. Even people who are doing all the wrong things are acting in this way, because ultimately what we want is like pleasure versus pain, peace versus pain, joy versus pain, happiness versus pain. There's a million types of pain, including emotional pain, and there are hundreds of different names we use for different kinds of emotional pains, and the same goes for different kinds of pleasant or pleasurable states, right? So that's what economy is all about, okay? The first step is our pleasure and pain levels get us to want to do things to change and improve our pleasure and pain levels. Even those people who like pain, they actually get a pleasure out of it, and you probably don't need to hear the neurology of it. But when it comes to power and wealth is power. It's the power to trade, the power to buy and sell. It's the power to engage in, exchange, right? So you listening to this are likely to have not tons of power. If you're in what used to be called the middle class, you're probably less empowered and wealthy than the middle class has been in a long time. I was born at a time when the middle class was, I think, doing very well, or at least I lived as a child through that time. That's a problem because not being able to buy and sell and gain and give away what you want to gain and give away means you might not be able to get things like houses, even just plain old shelter. You might be able to get an apartment, but not buy a house that's ever going to be your own. You might have your house and you've paid it off, but you've paid it off by getting loans in certain ways, and now you're not very able to pay off your home taxes, so you could lose your house anyway. This is how serious it is. And what does politics have to do about it? Everything. Who makes the policies that allow people to get a certain amount of money and not put it back into the economy? So I really have trouble talking about economics because I'm sort of new. I think I understand economics better than ever before. But I'm going to try here for a second. There is a certain amount of wealth and power that makes a person happy. But there is no level that makes a person feel safe. Being a person, I'm afraid, always feels a little bit dangerous, risky. Like we're, there could always, and why? Because in actuality, it is. A comet could hit us. You could trip and bash your head on the cement. Bad things can happen. Bad things do happen. There's been no real attenuation of that, except we've got better medical care and those kind of things because of science and the technology and awareness that has been brought to us by science. So how do I get to this? If you're not getting your share of what you need, do the correct math before you start a rebellion or before you even vote, or even before you start talking about politics. Realize it's not the little poor people that are a little bit richer than you or a little bit poorer than you or at your poverty level or at your wealth level that are causing the problem. You don't have to worry about what the poor are doing. In fact, for your economics, you don't even have to worry about what gangsters and criminals are doing and murderers. You don't have to worry about that quite as much if you're concerned about being able to position yourself in a sturdy home, sturdy nutrition, air conditioning, all the things that are basics, we think, for most of us, just to get by from day to day. Having a car that's going to continue working and being able to not go into debt, paying for gasoline and maintenance and stuff. All of this is doable, but you can't get that money from people in the lower class, the upper lower class, the lower middle class, the upper middle class, or the lower wealthy or the middle wealthy. All of the money, basically, effectively, all of the money, all of the wealth in this world right now is being held by the upper class. Just a few people have enough money to make us all secure, but they use their power to keep their money, and they use their money to keep their power by bribing politicians, but more really donating to politicians. That's technically not considered a bribe according to the law. But The formula is very simple. You do not need to fight against the immigrants coming in. You need to empower them and join with them, because you're going to want them to come in and understand things your way and vote your way, the way of the politicians who, for whatever reason those politicians are willing to do this, you have to get together and outspend and outvote the very, very, very wealthy. Now, by the way, the very, very, very wealthy don't even need to go to vote at all. They don't even need to bother. So you're going to outvote them. But voting doesn't do it. Why doesn't voting do it? Because they've paid the wealthy. I'm going to say they. There is an us and a they in this terms. You know, I mean, we got to use pronouns, don't we? They don't. They will go tell politicians what to do. They meet with them all the time. It doesn't matter which politician gets into office. They can influence that politician, no matter what they said. The amount of money they have is so much that you can only beat them with a combination of dollars and votes. You have to probably also, but let's go back to the mental health part of all this, okay? Because that was supposed to be the focus, and it really is, but we're all feeling a little more sluggish some of the time, more of the time than we used to be. Some people have always felt sluggish, unsafe, and that creates mental health disorders. Now, some people have more vulnerability biologically to mental health disorders, but in certain environments, the triggers won't trigger that biology. Now, most of the time, that biology is going to be enough to give them certain problematic styles of living, thinking, feeling, and interacting with other human beings. However, with wealth and stability, their mental health problems will decrease in intensity and how long it lasts and how many episodes, how frequent those symptoms pop up. And then when that happens, people can start to get a foothold. But if you're sitting here worrying about, I make $100,000 a year, I make $500,000 a year, but I'm not sure what's going to happen with all the stuff I've purchased or with all the bills I've had. If I lose my job, am I going to be in jeopardy? If you make $500,000 a year, that's damn good. You know, it doesn't seem like you have a reason or a right to feel insecure, but you do, don't you? You do feel insecure. You feel like it can all fall out from under you. And that's the other part of the mental health of politics and the politics of mental health. It's not how much jeopardy you're really in. What causes heart disease and immune compromisation that can lead to things like cancer is how you feel. How you feel is biological. It's chemicals, neuronal firing that gives commands to build up tissue, break down tissue, do everything. Mental health is everything. So, I don't care how rich you are, if you're a billionaire and you're still not feeling secure, you're pretty much done making money. If you have $500,000, that's kind of iffy. It's not worth what it used to be. But some of your insecurity is unrealistic. Now, some of it might not be, there might be levels that you're not going to be able to do away with. You know, like you might have this much, and maybe you can get your level of insecurity down to here. That's pretty damn good. You'll notice that. You'll feel quite like a different person. If for some reason your case is that you can get, further down to here, that's great. But in order to get the kind of relief you want, why do people go to a therapist? Because a therapist is educated. But before that, we're people to interact with. So we're not just educated in mental health principles and neurology and biology and these different mental health processes. We're, most of us, well trained and pretty good at caring about you, actually caring about you, and showing that we care about you. And on those days when it's impossible to care about anybody or anything, we're pretty good at still looking like we care. Because it's part of our job. And we want the clients, we want the counseling jobs, right? Money has, I think, probably always been with humans. People might have traded leaves. People might have traded clamshells. I think they did. People might have traded all kinds of things in order to not have to carry a big buffalo to a different place and trade it for 4,000 chickens, right? But what I'm saying is, because one of the primary factors in you and your therapist being a healing team is social, having inequality in the world makes you feel hurt. It makes you feel estranged and alienated from other people. If you're wealthy, I'm pretty sure you may not be comfortable talking to me. And what I mean by wealthy, I have enough wealth where I'm probably secure for retirement, maybe. But I'm talking about if you're what I call the hyper wealthy. You probably think if you came to my rural neighborhood, you might be like, I don't think I can really deal with these people, unless you do live in my rural neighborhood and you're a billionaire. That can happen too. Some people have some big properties out there, but I'm sure if you're paying attention, you are feeling uncomfortable with certain people, and this turns them into certain types of people. And then you wonder, are you a type of person that people can't get along with? And do I have the guts to go over there and see if that person can like me and appreciate me and hang out with me? And you're going to see some impoverished person and they're begging for food or money, and you're going to do the defensive thing. Look at that guy. He shouldn't be doing that. He's not even threatening you. He's not even doing anything. He's just out there getting a sunburn and hardly any money. And you're concerned he's judging you. And I don't want to force that on you. You don't have to believe that. But let me say it again. I'm pretty confident you're concerned that he or she is judging you, because wondering if people are judging you is a survival instinct. It has a survival value, especially back in the savannah, maybe even especially now. Maybe you know a buddy that will back you up, right? But you still have this little part of your brain that works so fast, and it's more a whole body thing. The brain, in your mind, in the back of your mind, there's always, what does that person think of me? Because it was important back then, and you have the same neurology that we had 200,000 years ago. So, do you see politics, power, economics, resources? Can you see how equalizing the playing field would create more emotional stability, stability. Stability, because I'm having trouble. I have a lazy tongue sometimes. More stability and security to the wealthy and the poor. If you had about as much money as everybody else, if you're not too much richer than everybody else, and if you're not too much poorer than everybody else, that you're going to feel a lot more kinship with a lot more people and be a lot more at ease at basically understanding that everybody's going to either like you or tolerate you. And liking you is nice. Tolerating you is love. Good day to you.